Let's talk about how the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are all three at one at the same time. Now, what helped me understand the way I understood the Holy Spirit revealed to me is he said, look at yourself for an example, because I am three and one at the same time as well, just like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The only difference is I can't separate myself. I'm a soul, I'm a spirit, and I'm flesh. Now, the way that I'm a soul is it's the immaterial part of me. You could even say the spiritual part. The spirit and the soul are almost like the same, but they're not. Because the spirit is like the seat of your emotions, your character, it's who you are. And when you meet somebody, what do you judge them on of who they are? You judge their spirit. You say, I don't like their spirit, or their spirit feels weird to me, I don't like it. It's the spirit. And clearly, we're flesh, muscle, tissue, fat, bone, marrow, organs. I am all three of those things, but I am still one person, right? The only difference is I'm not God, and I cannot separate those three, but He can, okay? God is God. He is limitless. He can do whatever He wants. He is not bound to physical laws like we are, okay? He has no limits. If He had limits, then He ain't God, and He's not worth worshiping, okay? He needs to be mysterious. He needs to be out of the realm of my understanding, or I can't respect Him. That's why I respect God, because He is mysterious, and I can't grasp Him, so I know He's God. So I say that to say, He is limitless, right? I can't separate my three parts, but He can. He separated his soul, separated His spirit, and He became flesh, right? So we have God, who is He's sole ruler of the universe, right? So His soul is ruling. He's there. He is in heaven. He is seated on the throne. But He's alright. Let's say me. Let's just say me. Let's say I'm God. Let's say I'm God. I'm sitting on the throne. I am holy, and no one can come to me without sacrifice, because I require sacrifice, a blood sacrifice, in order for you to be clean, right? But all the goats, the rams, the birds, all this stuff is not sufficing. It's not good enough, right? It's not holy. The blood is not quenching my anger at the human race because of the sin. So I had to send the flesh. I had to go into the world. I take a piece of me and I send it through my Holy Spirit as a seed into what we know as, who we know as Mary, right? So I'm born into the world as flesh to become this ultimate sacrifice, the blood that is cleansing, that will clean the sin from people, right? So that is how God became flesh, blood, muscle, tendons, tissue, fat, bone, marrow. That's the flesh part of Him, right? And then He has His Holy Spirit, which reveals to us who He is. Like I said, the seat of the emotions, the character. That's how we judge who someone is, through their spirit, right? And then there's His soul. This is the soul ruler. He is still on the throne, ruling, holding everything in place, right? So we have those three parts. I took a part of myself. Like, I have to send a part of myself into the world to save it. My blood will cleanse them. of their sins and iniquity. So I'm going to be born into the world so that my blood will be shed for them to be able to enter into me, because of the, back in the Old Testament, the priests had to go in for us, and they had to do so many rituals to talk to God and be right, and sacrifice the animals. But we don't have to do that anymore, because Jesus was that ultimate sacrifice. He became the flesh, right? So, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, that is how they are 3 in 1. And a lot of people say, well, why was Jesus praying to God if he is God? Like, that doesn't make sense. Okay, if I'm on my throne, I take a piece of myself and I send it into the world to save it, right? I become flesh. Flesh is weak. It can be tempted, it is weak, it gets tired, it gets hungry, it's emotional. So I need to tap back in to the spiritual part of myself by praying, right? So that my spirit can fill me. The flesh part of me, I'm looking at that part of me is getting weak. I need to pray so that I can feed myself the spiritual food that I need to be strong, right? That's why Jesus was praying, because even though he is the 3 in 1, right? So that part of me is away from me right now. It's weakening. I need to tap back in to the spiritual part of myself, to the soul of myself, to the spirit of myself, and get strong again. I need strength, because I'm down here praying, I'm teaching, I'm healing, I'm walking on the water. I'm doing all this stuff. I need spiritual sustenance. That's why Jesus had to pray, even though he still is God. He came from God. Just like the Holy Spirit is down here working, he's going all throughout the earth, proclaiming the gospel, convicting people of sin. Any and everybody who has been saved through the Holy Spirit. There's somebody who let the Holy Spirit speak through them, So that's how God is 3 in 1. He is spirit, he is soul, and he became flesh. But he's all one. He's separated it, because I have the same within me, but I am not God, and I cannot separate those 3. So I hope that makes sense.